Welcome back. We will be looking at the conflict between short term and long term financial ratios. This is something that has continuously cropped up in APM in our discussions, with short termism, myopia, and things like that. Even in terms of ratios, and especially in terms of ratios, being long term oriented, long term focused is becoming ever more important and critical. So, what happens here is that let's take a look at it this way. Generally, short-term measures are used for control purposes to determine rewards and benefits, bonuses, all of that, and to assess the quality of your past decisions, whether they were right or wrong. However, if you're really focused on or if you're obsessive on using short-term targets, it's going to create some issues because your managers and your operational team might actually be focused on the short-term targets and they might be working for that, but if you're the director, which is the standpoint we are looking at APM through, you will be looking at it from a more broader perspective, long term oriented, sustainability, and all of that. So you're focused on short term, long term value instead of while your managers, your lower level staff is focused on short term performance, short term profitability, so to speak. Now this will create issues because they might actually do things that are dysfunctional, that are suboptimal, that hinders the growth of the business. Like, for example, they could easily, if there are divisional managers who are in charge of investments, they could actually cut down investments. They to keep the ROCE. If you're measuring their performance using ROCE, you know that the denominator is capital employed. So to keep the capital employed figure small, because if the capital employed figure is small, then the ROCE figure is automatically going to be big. If that is the case, they might discourage new investments, because if they do new investments, that means your capital employed figure is going to go up, and that will bring down the ROCE, and that might reflect poorly on his or her performance record, and therefore thereby the reward and the bonus. So this is something unacceptable. So there are issues like this that need to be considered when you're being too short termist. It can really affect the company. That is why we need to take into account what measures are available for us to deal with them and deal with uh, or to reduce short termism. How? One, you use a mix of financial and non financial measures. If you're using a budget constraint style of management, you switch from that, you become profit conscious, and you bring in some of the non accounting style into it. You offer share options to your employees and to all the people who are working, so that they will feel that they are, because if they own the shares and part of their returns and part of their wealth is the capital gains of those shares, it means that they will feel that they're part of the company, that the company is actually they own part of the company, and their work toward it may be more honest and more hardworking. Bonuses can be awarded, and these should be linked to more long-term oriented ones, not short-term measures. NPV and IRR should be consistently used. I told you the example of how companies use NPV and IRR and payback to decide things before they undertake projects, and then after they take up the project, how they use completely inconsistent and incoherent profitability measures to measure performance. So that can be addressed. Reduce decentralization in a sense that there is central leadership, there is commonality between the ideas that are getting communicated, that the leadership is consistent, and value based techniques. So you should driving the company more toward focusing on the key drivers of shareholder wealth and value, so that everybody understands that we are not only driving short term performance, but we are also looking at the long term approach and long term existence of the company itself. So if one were to ask, should a short term approach ever be taken? Only where necessary. Very simple. You look at the situation, and if it's like if it's a dire situation and you're now focused more on survival, you're, let's say your company is in trouble and you're focused more on survival, you need to survive rather than thinking about long term, then that's definitely a place where it's common sense to be more short term focused and see what how do you strengthen your short term liquidity, how do you strengthen your profitability, and address the immediate concern. So it's a priority basis matter. You look at the situation and you use your common sense and good judgment and all those skills we talked about, people skills, business skills, technical skills, all of those skills and good business acumen, commercial acumen, to decide, okay, at this point we should be more focused on short-termist targets. Or we can now relax once you address those issues. You can relax and be more loose about it. So on that note, we complete that chapter. We've looked at a company-wide approach. The next chapter is actually divisional performance measurements and looking inside the company, looking at a company, but looking at a company which is made up of multiple divisions which are competing against each other, which have different responsibilities. In such a situation, how do you actually measure performance? So on that note, we complete the discussion on our chapter number 8. I will see you soon. Good luck and thank you.